3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to We Like Dota. This is We Like Dota, the internet's casual Dota 2 podcast. I'm Brian Sabone-Yinger, and I will turn down my speakers here. But yeah, doing a little bit of replay analysis of a match that we lost pretty hard last night. It was a bit of a tough loss. And yeah, just wanted to take a look at the replay and try and figure out what went wrong. And if you don't watch your replays, I highly suggest you watch the ones that are maybe more quote-unquote try-hard games. So well, I definitely recommend you do that just for the sake of just seeing what happened from other people's perspective and getting a bigger picture of the whole thing. So we are on the Radiant. It was a We Like Dota 5-stack, and yeah, if you're watching this and you're not a part of the We Like Dota guild, let us know. Track us down on Reddit or add me on Steam or something like that. And yeah, by the way, check out our Reddit at reddit.com/r/WeLikeDota. But yeah, we were doing the picking and the banning here, and I was doing the drafting, and I'm not typically the person who does the drafting. Usually that's Jared, but I think I have no issues stepping in when Jared can't do it. And as usual, people complain after after they say they don't want to draft, and then they make you do it. I'm looking at you, Ben. And so yeah, we did ban out the Lifestealer because we did have a match where we just got rocked by him. And we took out the Phantom Lancer. We banned the Phantom Lancer because I don't think he's necessarily super difficult to play with as long as you have enough AoE damage, but nonetheless, he is a pain to play against. And we did ban out the Wraith King because we thought they'd need kind of a single target stun and a nice tanky carry, so Wraith King can definitely be that. And we were planning on going with the Silencer since they did pick up the Omni Knight and the Storm Spirit, but specifically for the Omni Knight, we thought the Silencer would be a great pick, but they did ban that out, so good on the Dire side for doing that. And we did ban out the Lycan because we thought the Lycan would be another carry they would want to pick up. And yeah, it's just really hard to figure out. It's not as difficult with this lineup because their first pick was a Storm Spirit and an Omni Knight. You know, that's a carry and a support, so it's easy to figure out that hey, they're going to need a safe lane carry and probably an off lane carry. So we figured the Lycan would be a good pick. Kind of has decent synergy with the Storm Spirit, and they do go ahead and pick up the Lone Druid. And at this point, we were like, "Oh crap, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to draft against Lone Druid." Which you don't see Lone Druid being picked up a ton at our skill level, which is I'm right at around 2k MMR, and everyone's pretty much right around that. I know Ben's a little bit closer to 3k MMR. He's the good player of the group, Yadneb. And I just saw there was a player on the Dire side called Vasectomy. So that's a little troubling. But we did pick up the Wind Ranger for Emmy Lou. She likes to play the Wind Ranger, and she is a pretty good support player. So Wind Ranger does bring a semi-reliable stun. Not necessarily the best, but it's good to follow up with a nice single target reliable stun after you land that. So you'd throw like a good stun and then maybe throw a shackle shot out. And they do pick up the Slardar, which just as we thought they would need, kind of that tanky carry. Slardar is really good. Brings a lot to the table with the Slithering Crush and the what's his ultimate, Amplified Damage. So yeah, you don't see a ton of Slardar play, but I think he's pretty good and kind of underutilized, if I'm being honest. And I am enjoying some delicious coffee, but I did make it in a mug that I had some mint tea in last night, and it is getting a little strange. And that's okay. So we do pick up the Witch Doctor. Think Arm requested the Witch Doctor. He's kind of a newer player, I believe, and that's totally fine. We were happy to play a couple matches with him. So he seemed comfortable with Witch Doctor, and yeah, I like Witch Doctor. You always see people going crazy with the Death Ward.
Radiance band.
You always see tons of like multi-kills and stuff with that thing. So I do like Witch Doctor. He does have that the Voodoo Restoration, which is really good, and the Cask, which I like quite a bit as well. And we pick up the Luna for Yadneb. It's one of his heroes that he's best on. And yeah, I feel like whenever we need a carry to get stuff done, we say, okay, Ben, it's time for you to play Luna. And if you get the chance, go watch Luna's, Pyrian Flax's Luna video out on YouTube. It is quite the video to behold. It is quite the video to behold. The only thing that he knocks Luna for is her voice acting, and I do not come from the United Kingdom, so I do not know how bad her acting is, but I kind of dig the Luna accent, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of into it. So I think with seeing the Dire draft here, and I think this is a fine strategy to do. We didn't really try and outdraft them or counterdraft them or anything like that. We just kind of decided to draft what we wanted to play and what we were comfortable with and stick to our strategy rather than already giving them the upper hand and letting them kind of dictate the pace of things already. So I think that's an okay thing to do. I think maybe the only time you'd come into that sort of trouble is if they have like a really early push-oriented strategy, and you just don't pick the heroes to counter a good push strategy. And we did pick up the Dragon Knight because we do have a somewhat frail lineup, but the Dragon Knight brings a decent amount of damage and a really nice stun when he's in dragon form. So I will be playing the Dragon Knight, which usually I play support, but we are going to run the Dragon Knight off lane, so we'll see how it all goes. So yeah, we'll go ahead and introduce the lanes and lineups here. We do have Yadneb with that sweet Chinese New Year skin on Luna. I think, what is that? The Blessings of Lucentier or something like that. Yeah, the Blessing of Lucentier set. Do like that set quite a bit. And he will be playing the Luna as a safe lane carry. As my zoom goes crazy again. I still cannot figure out why the camera grip button will not bind. I don't understand what's going on with that at all. And I will be playing Dragon Knight in the off lane. And we will have Emmy Lou. I think she's warding right now, but she does wind up being in the off lane with me. And we do have Kyler playing his Shadow Friend. 30 seconds to showtime. Which is also one of his best heroes, and a big fan of the Shadow Friend. And I know it's Shadow Fiend. I just like to say Shadow Friend. And then for safe lane support, we have Witch Doctor. So, yeah, I think these are decent lanes. I think maybe I'd like to see... I think a Wind Ranger Witch Doctor Luna would be a pretty decent tri-lane so that I could get solo XP on the Dragon Knight. But at 2k MMR, that is... I'm not entirely sure how to do tri-lanes well. I know kind of the thought process behind them, and I know you need to punish early for those. But... yeah, I think that's something we would just need to work out. But on the Dire side, we do have the Faceless Void and Omni Knight in the Dire safe lane, which... that's a bit of a rough matchup, because that is a double melee lane. And in the mid lane, we have Storm Spirit, who already picked up the double damage room, so Kyler is going to be kind of between a rock and a hard spot already. And we do have the solo safe lane Slardar with the jungling Lone Druid, and we pretty much assumed Lone Druid would be jungling. When you know that there's somebody jungling, I'm not entirely sure what the correct response to that is. Emilu getting up those pretty those wards and those nice ward spots. I think I would have preferred her to maybe drop one here and then drop one like right here. Or even to help out the safe lane, drop one there, and then rune. You get you get vision of kind of that Radiant Safeling gank spot, and then also the rune as an added bonus, and then you can still place that one right up there. So yeah, but as I was saying, I'm not sure what the correct response is when you know that somebody is jungling. I'm not sure what to do there. We do have a little bit of harassment in the middle lane between the Shadow Fiend and the Storm Spirit. Let's take a look at the last hits. So on Dragon Knight, I am 6-0, 7-0 right now. I remember Emilu just playing such good support. She just was able to harass the Faceless Void and the Omni Knight so much. So she really made life easy for me in the off lane. So that is good support, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime either of these two came up to last hit, she would just right-click the crap out of him. And Shadow Fiend probably going to go down here. Getting a little cocky. He did have a healing salve and a tango, so I think he got just a little bit far forward, and Storm Spirit was able to capitalize off that. And spoiler alert, I do remember Storm Spirit just rocking us. And now that I think about it, they did do a first pick Storm Spirit, so I shouldn't be surprised that when that happens, there's a good Storm Spirit player. Slardar is soaking up solo XP, which, as a Slardar player, you can play him as a carry, or I think they're just kind of trying to play him as a just a really good offlaner. So he just needs levels to get the Slithering Crush and that nice passive bash, and the sprint is pretty good, but you take extra damage, and then also the amplified damage. But really, you're getting it for the Slithering Crush and the amplified damage. Which amplified damage is really good as well because it gives true sight. So if you have like a Ricky or somebody who's going to be going Shadow Blade, it's good to cast that amplified damage on them. And I did pick up a Soul Ring for the Dragon Knight so that I can spam the Breathe Fire and really just bring out a ton of harassment and really up my farm potential. And we do have Luna going for the Magic Wand to free up those inventory spots. It's a good pickup. I think you could probably... Well, no, you would need to upgrade your Magic Wand before you start working on your boots. And I think we have Witch Doctor building into a Bracer. Storm Spirit does have a bottle, and Kyler does have his on the way. But I think playing against a Storm Spirit, it's almost pointless to go for bottle because Storm Spirit's going to be able to get that almost every single time thanks to his ultimate. He does have the ball lightning, but he has not hit level 6 yet. So this Storm Spirit is playing pretty aggressively. I think we probably should have called for someone to gank mid. I think probably it would have been best to have the Dragon Knight once I hit level 6 to pop the Elder Dragon form. That way I can get the Dragon Tail in ranged form. And yeah, I think we'd have enough burst damage to be able to take him down. And yet again, we see the Storm Spirit here just harassing like crazy, using the Chain Lightning, or not Chain Lightning, the Electric Vortex and the Static Remnant to do a decent amount of harassment damage. And this Faceless Void is having a tough time in lane. He's 7-1, and Omni Knight is 1-2, which he shouldn't really be looking to get a ton of farm anyway. And the Lone Druid is ahead on farm, but he's number 3 on net worth, and that's because, as I've mentioned in past videos, farming in the jungle, unless you have like a Hand of Midas or something like that, is going to be less efficient than farming in lane. So if you're going to be in the jungle, that's something you want to keep in mind. Storm Spirit does activate that illusion rune and uses some illusions to start scouting. Paralyzing Cast just going to bounce around and not really do too much here, so don't really want to be casting that unless you have a reason to do it. And because we do see the Storm Spirit in the mid lane, we know right off the bat that this is an illusion, especially because he's just kind of parking it there, not doing too much with it. And I do remember feeling pretty decent at this point in the game. I think Storm Spirit going in with the ball lightning, but not really going to be able to do too much. Electric Vortex and the Static Remnant combo will be used. Kyler using a ton of raise, trying to raise and get a ton of damage out, and he does get the last hit with the with the long range raise, so that does even things up in the mid lane. So good for him. But yeah, I think I'm going to be talking a little bit about how, and you guys might laugh at this, and that's fine, how I felt during the game, because I think you know how you're feeling, you know, oh, this is terrible, you know, you just know, like, when you're losing, when you're not doing well. I think it's important to recognize those times and kind of remember how you felt at certain points of the game, to remember, use them as a reminder to, I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say here. Kind of use this as like a bookmark for where things went wrong and those sorts of things. So Omni Knight is rotating into the jungle to meet up with Storm Spirit, as we do have Faceless Void getting a little bit of solo XP, and it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a Storm Spirit Omni Knight wraparound gank here, and we don't have any vision of the river, so we have no idea this is coming. And we did know that Storm Spirit was missing and probably should have backed up at that time, but we do have Faceless Void coming in with the backtrack. Shackle Shot not really going to connect at all. Ball Lightning going around like crazy from the Storm Spirit, and they will pick up a kill, while there is also a Witch Doctor Slardar kill in the safe lane. So I think there's a couple things that cause what just happened, and one, it was Emmylou and I not... Oh, and how did Witch Doctor die? Did he die from tower damage? Did he die to creeps? I don't even know. But yeah, anyway, I think when Emmylou and I knew that Storm Spirit was missing, we probably should have backed off. But I also think watching the ward timer and you know, making sure that every 8 minutes you're keeping those wards up. You know, not that having wards up would guarantee that he'd walk by where the wards were, but it does help to have some vision up, and increases the chance of spotting out something like that. So Lone Druid is doing okay on farm. He is second in net worth, so he is something to be scared of for sure. The bear is sitting with a Stout Shield and an Orb of Venom, and the Lone Druid himself sitting on the Tranquil Boots and the Branches, and I think I would prefer to see the Lone Druid transferring those Branches to the bear. But he does have a double stack here in the easy camp, so I think it seems like this Lone Druid knows what he's doing. Which, we didn't go into this match cocky, but we were a little... you know, you don't see low-skill players picking Storm Spirit and Lone Druid all that often, so we thought that maybe they had just seen some pro games and were excited to try out what the pros were doing or something. Yeah, we do have Luna sitting on that Ring of Aquila, and Witch Doctor does have that Bracer, as I talked about earlier. And Emmylou does go and get those wards back up. Nice ward here on the Ancient side for the Radiant, and nice vision of the Roche Pit here. Probably a little bit early to be going for Roche, but not too bad. I think I would still prefer to see one of these river wards placed maybe a little aggressively, or maybe up in the river. And there was a Storm Spirit kill on Kyler, and I think we'll just rewind here so we can see exactly what happened. So let's take a look here. Storm Spirit doesn't have a rune or anything like that. So Kylo does have the haste rune bottle, but he just ball lightnings in, uses the electric vortex, and just totally initiates them on him there, and really not much he could do there between the electric vortex and the ball lightning. So yeah, that overload passive is really good for Storm Spirit, because every time he casts a spell, he gets that passive, which gives him a let's see, what is that? An attack slow, yeah, some extra damage, a movement slow, and a attack slow. So if you're using ball lightning across, short distances like he was, that you're not going to be spending a ton of mana, but every time you do it, you are going to get that overload. So it is good. Faceless Void going for the 10-minute and 40-second Hand of Midas, which I seriously question that pickup right now, because all he has is a Quelling Blade, and he's not getting a ton of farm as it is. So it is... I don't think that's a good pickup for the Faceless Void, but he does have this cool Cthulhu-inspired helmet or face or whatever for Faceless Void. I guess you can't call it a face since he's a Faceless Void. Yeah, and I remember at this point in the game I said, okay guys, let's rotate mid, let's try and take down this tier 1 tower, and then nobody joined me. So that is a little frustrating, and I do feel like the communication between our team for being a 5-stack in this match was a little lacking. We also didn't have everyone in our Mumble server, so we had some people who are using the in-game voice chat system and some people using Mumble, and that was a little frustrating. And I did, at this point I asked Luna if she was going to rotate to the mid lane so we could try and get a kill, and I knew Wind Ranger would be just fine in the off lane while I went mid. You know, she does have that nice escape, so some solo XP for Wind Ranger will be really nice. And we decided to just try and shut down this tower for Storm Spirits since he had just been kind of going crazy and just getting a decent amount of kills on us. And we do have the Lone Druid rotating in here, but Luna does have the level 6 Eclipse ready to go, and the Lone Druid just melts. So we are able to take this tower down, and the thought process behind that was to help, was to maybe shut down some of the Storm Spirits farm. And while this was happening, there was also a Witch Doctor kill in the off lane. Not entirely sure what happened there, but I think he probably just overextended a little bit. So let's do a quick item check. We do have Luna going for the Mask of Madness, and I did tell Ben last night, hey man, look, you should be looking in towards a Helm of the Dominator because it builds into Satanic, because I saw him buy a Mask of Madness once and then sell that to get a Satanic, you know, because you got to get the Helm of the Dominator. And look, Ben, you're more than welcome to buy whatever you want, buddy. I'm just trying to help you out. So I was being a little bit try-hard, and he was calling me out on it, but this is a try-hard game, right? Something like that. And we do have Kyler going for the Shadow Blade. And on the Dragon Knight, I am going for the Maelstrom to help me farm up a little bit more. The thought process was to go Maelstrom and then go Assault Cuirass. And Lone Druid is poking around our jungle here all on his lonesome, and I'm not sure what he was thinking here because we do have wards up. And Luna's going to go ahead and chase this out, and I think one more right-click will take him down, and it does. And Storm Spirit is able to get away no problem thanks to the Ball Lightning, as I do dangerously go and follow him a little bit. But yeah, Wind Ranger is sitting on the Phase Boots, so this solo lane will help her farm up a little bit. Omni Knight sitting on the Arcane Boots, no surprise there. And Faceless Void sitting on this Mask of Madness, or no, Morbid Mask and Hand of Midas. So he is going to go for the Mask of Madness, which I think is a decent pickup for when you pop the Faceless, whatever it's called, Chronosphere. And it looks like Storm Spirit is going to be going for something. I'm not sure. And Faceless Void does pick up that Mask of Madness finally. And I think Slardar is going for... I'm not sure. He does have a casual Helm of Iron Will, so we'll have to see how that's going to go for him. Witch Doctor's sitting on the Bracer. And I don't see the Lone Druid Bear anywhere. I don't think he has Bear available. And Witch Doctor a little far forward here. And we do have a kind of a strange initiation, and Luna is able to take down the Slardar, and also gets the kill. The Shadow Fiend gets the kill on the Omni Knight, so it is a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of the Radiant, which is good. I don't think Witch Doctor would have needed to give his life there. I think if... Well, yeah, see, that's the problem. Between a Witch Doctor, a Luna, and a Shadow Fiend, you don't have a ton of initiation. So I think it would have helped if I knew what they were planning on doing, if I could have rotated over to the bottom lane so that I knew to be over there. And that's just communication. You know, communication is what wins you the game in a lot of this stuff. And that's okay. I probably should have kept better track of the mini-map of what was going on. So the Lone Druid Bear does have Phase Boots, and the Lone Druid himself sitting on Tranquil Boots. And yeah, he does continue to farm up. He is quite low on the net worth chart, and he does continue to farm in the jungle, which farming in the jungle is just going to put him further behind. And I do remember thinking at this point, okay, we're starting to feel pretty strong, starting to do okay. Luna's really at a point now where she can just start ripping face, no problem. And I remember feeling pretty good about Dragon Knight at this point in time. Backtrack going to be used in a Faceless Void ultimate will be popped. He will be able to take down the Witch Doctor as Omni Knight using the, is it Repel? Yeah, Repel, which is basically a free BKB. Luna does pop the ultimate as the Repel wears off, and Emilu is able to get a double kill on the Omni Knight and the Faceless Void. So good for her. And we do wrap around on the Lone Druid here. And that long-range stun just really good on Dragon Knight. At level 1, that is a 2.5 second stun that you can use at long range. So I do pick up the Maelstrom. And the intention with this is to really just help me farm up a little bit to get the Assault Cuirass faster, to help our team tank up a little bit. And Emilu is going for the Force Staff, which is a good item. You can kind of use that to push enemies around and help you land shackle shots a little bit more. And the Shadow Fiend and Luna are able to do a decent amount of damage to this tower, but they are getting a little greedy staying around this long, especially with only just the two of them. So we'll see if they give up a kill here. Storm Spirit comes in with the Ball Lightning, blows everyone up. And the Shadow Fiend ultimate does do a decent amount of damage, but yeah, that Electric Vortex and Ball Lightning damage is really good. Or did he use the Static Remnant? I'm not sure. I think it was just from overload damage, wasn't it? I think he just right-clicked them down. So yeah, they did get a little greedy there and gave up 2 kills because of that. But even though Storm Spirit got a ton of kills in the early game, he's only sitting in the middle of the pack as far as net worth goes. So Luna, Shadow Fiend, and Dragon Knight sitting really far ahead on the net worth chart. And I remember being very proud of myself for stacking these Ancients here. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a pro player. But obviously I am not. So I do decide to pick up the Drum of Endurance, which I think is actually a pretty decent pickup, especially if I'm going for kind of this tanky Dragon Knight build. And oh gosh, I fear that Slardar is going to be able to get a kill on Witch Doctor here. So yeah, I think the Drum of Endurance is a decent pickup. I think there's really no reason to skip that in favor of a Assault Cuirass. Yeah, and Slardar just popping the sprint and using the Slithering Crush, and Witch Doctor to just way far forward and definitely vulnerable there. Way far forward and just out of position. So yeah, if you're not sure, even if you're alone at this stage in the game, you just want to make sure you know where everyone else is. And Storm Spirit, Wind Ranger walking right by her and popping the Electric Vortex and Static Remnant. But Storm Spirit says, hey, I'm getting the crap out of here. Repel is going to help out, and I thought, doesn't Repel, or no, he used the Guardian Angel, excuse me. So that is a bit of a decent engagement. Storm Spirit got a kill on the Luna, but Wind Ranger was able to get a return kill on the Omni Knight. So given the good initiation that Storm Spirit had, I think we actually turned that around somewhat well. And then this is when the Lone Druid split push is when things started to get a little scary for us. He doesn't have a ton of items right now, but see, a very nice rotation from Kyler here to push back the Lone Druid, and I don't think he should chase this out here, which he doesn't. He just decides to go for the farm. And, yeah, you'll see later on, the Lone Druid split push is something that I'm not sure. I remember not necessarily responding the best to it. So Faceless Void does have the Phase Boots. Slardar does have Power Treads as well. I meant Power Treads on the Faceless Void as well. Still sitting on the casual Helm of Iron Will and Blades of Attack. Omni Knight going for a Mechanism. Storm Spirit sitting on the Dagon. And looks like he might be going for Let's see, Perseverance. Is that... Did you get Lincoln Sphere from a Perseverance? Yeah, probably going to be going for a Lincoln Sphere, which I think is a decent pickup against the Dragon Knight stun, but beyond that, it's okay. Yeah, and maybe even the Shackle Shot. I think it stops Shackle Shot as well. So it kind of stops you from being initiated on. And we do have the Witch Doctor and Shadow Fiend trying to pressure this tower a little bit, but they do wisely decide to back up. They think better of pushing a tower with 4 heroes behind it, which is good. You don't want to be doing that. And it seems like my computer is running quite a bit better since I got that CPU cooler installed. Like, actually, definitely noticeably better. And as Dragon Knight, I do start to push this mid lane, which this is just stupid of me. And I see all these heroes wrapping around here thanks to this nice ward that Emmylou got up. This is a great ward. So if you're able to get something like that up, that's a good spot to be. And they do go to town on my illusions. And I was able to TP away quite safely, thank God. So our lead isn't quite as convincing as it once was. I think the Dire's probably starting to farm up quite a bit better. Or maybe it's just that they've been winning team fights. We do have about a 5,000 gold advantage, but XP is mostly even. And let's look at the hero levels. Storm Spirit is level 14. Lone Druid only level 11, so it just goes to show how inefficient jungle farming is. And he really hasn't gotten any decent items as of late, but I think he's probably going to be going for a Radiance if I remember correctly, which is really when... Once you get that Radiance up, and Storm Spirit's going to use the Static Remnant Electric Vortex combo yet again to great effect, and is able to just melt the Witch Doctor while Luna got a Eclipse kill, and Luna just walking directly into the Chronosphere. Faceless Void will go down thanks to the Luna, and the Omni Knight does go down as well. So this is a pretty good exchange. 3 down on the Dire side with all of our carries still up, so that was a really, really nice exchange. Slaughter going for the Armlet, which I think is actually somewhat decent because he really tanks up quite a bit, but I think I'd like to see some lifesteal on him if that's what he's going to go for. So we do take down this tier 2 mid. Yeah, I think that was a really great exchange for us, and Luna is just so far ahead right now. And this is really about the point in the game where I think we need to really seriously consider pushing pretty hard, especially with Kyler just getting his Desolator up. We just have such an advantage right now. You know, while the rest of them are really quite weak. Especially with the Faceless Void. You know, Faceless Void really takes quite a while to come online. Storm Spirit is pretty decent at any point in the game, I think. So he's really the only one that we need to be scared of right now. And Lone Druid's Bear is about to go down, so I think he might have to resummon it. And I'm surprised to see he hasn't picked up True Form yet on the Lone Druid. That's really good for team fighting. And Kyler just caught way out here. Kyler and Wind Ranger. Probably a little bit far forward trying to farm up. And Kyler goes down, and it looks like the Wind Ranger is going to go down as well. So a little bit of a ballsy play to be that far forward. Especially, yeah, just that Storm Spirit initiation, you just really have to be quite wary of that. Wary? I'm not sure which one it is. So that was a nice little pick-off for the Dire, and let's see how it swings that gold graph. Just a little bit. So we do have about a 6,000 gold advantage. XP favoring the Radiant a little bit. We're starting to swing that more in our favor. Let's see, what does the point booster build into?
Radiant's bottom tower.
I guess he's gonna go Scotty if he's he's got I don't know what he's building. I'm sure those of you at home watching along are just screaming and yelling about what he's gonna build. So the lone druid push is starting to become in full effect here because he is going to go for the radiance. He does have the sacred relic, so his damage is going to be somewhat decent. And this is the point in the game where the lone druid split push is really just going to start to just wreak havoc on us here. And Yadneb is getting close to that Manta style, and I think once he got the Mana style up, we should have just said, okay, let's either group up and just push like crazy, because little engagements like this start happening where we just start getting picked off, you know, 3v2, 4v3, you know, that sort of thing. And the Chronosphere does catch out the Luna, and she does pop the BKB, but I think it is a little bit late. There's really not much the BKB is going to stop right now that hasn't already happened. So the Shackle Shot does cause a mini-stun, which is enough to take down the Omni Knight thanks to the Dragon Knight stun as well. And Kyler on the Shadow Fiend does start to chase out this lone druid. And look at his movement speed. His movement speed is actually quite impressive. 415, jeez. So, and I think the Storm Spirit's going to be able to get a kill on the Luna here, but no, not able to get off that Electric Vortex. So I really think, yeah, I really just think some good old 5-man Dota is what's going to be best for the Radiant right now. Either group up and push a lane to just really, I think taking down a lane of Rax is really what's going to help them, because with the Lone Druid wanting to split push with a lane of Rax down, it's really going to keep them in their base. And if the Lone Druid is split pushing, you know, we're going to be able to pick them off, you know, 3v1 or something like that, no problem. I think the issue with Lone Druid is, and I don't think we had this problem, but the issue I've seen in the past is just overcommitment. You know, you see one hero, one Lone Druid split pushing, and you send 5 people, and that's just way too much. It's not worth it to send 5 people over to pick off one hero. So we do have the Lone Druid split pushing in the bottom lane, while the Dire are just kind of poking around up here. So I think this is kind of exactly what they wanted us to do, and I think as far as positioning goes, like, our positioning throughout the entire match was just kind of poor.
Dire's top tower's gone.
Luna was able to get a tower kill, but the Faceless Void does catch out the Dragon Knight with the Chronosphere, but not really able to get too much done, and the Faceless Void will go down, and the Slardar are able to get the kill on the Luna, and Dragon Knight popping the Elder Dragon form, while the Storm Spirit using the Electric Vortex to catch out the Wind Ranger, and Wind Ranger will get away no problem, and Slardar does get the kill on the Dragon Knight thanks to the support from Omni Knight, while Lone Druid was able to take out this bottom tower down here. I still can't draw on my minimap. I wish I could. I don't know why. So, and also, Storm Spirit getting a kill on the Wind Ranger, finally able to catch up to her. So, Witch Doctor, he came down here to defend this, and he did have the Death Ward ultimate available and ready to go the whole time. Not quite sure why he didn't pop that, but I think the Lone Druid will die thanks to tower damage. And the Bear also dies with that as well. So that kind of saved our butts, that the Lone Druid really overextended. And the Luna is still way out far ahead in terms of net worth. Way out ahead of the Dire. So, oh, Storm Spirit picking up the Bloodstone, which is actually a really good pickup for him. Really helps out with the mana and health issues. It gives a lot of mana regen, health regen, and a little bit of damage as well. So, Wind Ranger picking up that Maelstrom, which for support Wind Ranger, I don't think is a good item. It will help you to farm up a little bit. And Slardar are able to pick off the courier at the secret shop. But yeah, I don't really think the, and I can't zoom, I guess I'm zoomed in all the way. I can't tell what the normal zoom levels are. But yeah, I don't think the Maelstrom as a support Wind Ranger is necessarily a good pickup. I think I'd rather see her go for maybe a Yule Scepter, or a Yule Scepter would be good, an Orchid I think would be good. Working towards a Scythe of Vice or a Pipe of Insight would be somewhat decent. I know Storm Spirit has a lot of right-click damage, and we are able to get a kill on the Storm Spirit from Luna.
Dire just couldn't save that bottom tower.
Where is Lone Druid? He's farming up in the jungle. Still sitting quite low on the net worth chart. And even in levels. So I think we have this one in the bag as long as we're able to coordinate and figure out what the heck we're going to do. So I am pretty close to the assault cuirass here. One more component to go, the recipe, and Luna taking out the dire ancients, and yeah, this sort of stuff is what I'm talking about. So you look at just everyone wrapping around here, getting out of position. I think, yeah, I just think the coordination and the movement out of the dire is just so much better. And we will see Storm Spirit probably zap in here, able to take down the Faceless Void. Shackle Shot not going to connect. Eclipse going to be popped, but they are going to be able to mech through it. And we do see that Death Ward going down finally, but that Guardian Angel really helping out quite a bit. And the Repel... well, no, the Death Ward is magic damage, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I think the... Is it the Guardian Angel? I don't know. I don't know what stopped that Death Ward there. Let's... I'm gonna replay this and try and figure out what's going on here. Okay, so we see Storm Spirit zapping in here. Gonna use the Electric Vortex. Slardar going in using the Slithering Crush. The Eclipse doing a ton of work. Death Ward taking down... Okay, so he... Yeah, I still don't know what's going on, because Faceless Void does get the kill on the Luna, but I could have sworn this is physical damage. Yeah, right? Like, you guys saw Omni Knight eat like 5 of those and take no damage. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, we were fighting like 5v3 because we do have the Dragon Knight out here and the Shadow Fiend back here as well. So that is yeah, I don't think there's really anything they could do to stop from being initiated on by the Storm Spirit, because he does have that ball lightning. I think they probably just should have been a little bit more cautious and not being that far forward and getting caught out in the first place like that. And I do remember seeing Slardar and being like, oh, I can take Slardar on one-on-one, but he's level 19, I'm level 17, and there's an Omni Knight. So this is just a terrible idea, and I do feed a kill. So yeah, there's that, and yeah, Storm Spirit going to be able to initiate in here on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend ultimate blowing up as he dies. Did he get that off when he... No, he didn't even use the regular ultimate. So yeah, and this is just kind of how the rest of the game went. Just a lot of really bad positioning, bad movement. Lone Druid split pushing us. Slardar picking up the Assault Cuirass. Luna pretty close to a Butterfly. Is going to be able to chase out the Lone Druid.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up.
So this just goes to show that well, Luna did get a kill on the Lone Druid. But yeah, this just goes to show that coordination and team movement in positioning is so important, because I think we really did have this one in the bag. If we would have just been able to coordinate and work as a team a little bit better and move across the map as a team a little bit better, I think we would have been fine. Looks like we have a little bit of engagement that might start up in the jungle. Slardar trying to wrap around here. I'm surprised there's not a Blink Dagger. Shackle Shot will connect with the Faceless Void. Storm Spirit zipping in here and going to use the Electric Vortex. Eclipse going to be popped, and they are able to right-click down Luna, no problem. And not looking good for the Radiant. So Storm Spirit is going to be able to chase out the Wind Ranger, while the Dragon Knight goes solo against the Slardar, and I almost was able to get a kill on him, but he is level 22 and quite strong, and is sitting on top of the net worth for the Dire. So not sure what the Shadow Fiend is doing here. A bit of a risky engagement, as he does give up a kill, going in 2-on-1 against a Slardar and a Shadow Fiend that are quite a bit more leveled than him. Yeah, he's level 16, and that's a level 21 and 22 Slardar. And some bad manners from the Storm Spirit here. This guy was a jerk. So I don't know what's up with that. So sorry to ruin your day there, Storm Spirit. There's no reason for that kind of crap. So Slardar is going for the tanky Slardar build, which I do like. Faceless Void building into the Monkey King bar. Probably saw that Luna was going for the Butterfly, so that's going to be a really nice pickup for him. Let's see how Lone Druid's doing. Bear sitting on Radiance and a Skull Basher, which is pretty good. Lone Druid hasn't had as good of a game as what I had really thought coming out of this match, that it was the Lone Druid that had won the game for them, which actually really isn't the case, as we do see the Dire go for the Roshan kill. But yeah, it's really only the Luna that is really far ahead in gold. But the Dire are picking up, you know, look how much this has swung in their favor, especially the XP graph. And I think it just comes from all of those 4-on-2, 3-on-2 engagements that they had where they were able to pick people off, kind of like this engagement right here. So Dragon Knight, I do try and wrap around here, and I do catch out the Storm Spirit, or excuse me, the Omni Knight, but they are able to take down the Luna 4v3, and that was another one of those fights where we just weren't really able to get our positioning, really able to figure out our positioning. So Dragon Knight will go down no problem. The Lone Druid getting the kill on the Dragon Knight, and due to, I think Shadow Fiend was already dead, I think. So so it was really only Wind Ranger. I'm not sure where everybody was. I think it was, what, a 3-on-5 engagement there. But yeah, due to my poor positioning with trying to wrap around and trying to catch out the Omni Knight, which actually did nothing for the team at all, that was really kind of a 4 or 3v5, which actually turned into like a 2v5 due to poor positioning. And it wasn't just me. There was Wind Ranger was kind of coming around here, you know, trying to come around here, and she just wasn't really there as the engagement happened. And I think that kind of comes down to Luna was maybe a little bit more far forward than she should have been, given that all of our outer tier towers were down, and it is nice to see that Death Ward go down. Slardar eating quite a decent amount of those, but I think this is probably pretty much the end of the match here. So the Guardian Angel will be popped, and really just not much we can do here. Luna melting, Storm Spirit just going to town, doing work, and it is nice to see Luna still sitting on top of the net worth chart, though. I will say that. But yeah, just bad movement, bad positioning. People getting caught out, people too far forward, not playing it safe, and I count myself in that as well. I had a couple times where I was also playing a little bit greedier or more selfishly than I should have been without knowing when I could have. So yeah, it's pretty much just a bloodbath at this point, and the Ancient will go down, and that is a win for the Dire. So this is maybe like the third time I've cast a game that I've lost, which I think I definitely tend to lose more than I win, and that's okay. So yeah, that was a little bit of a replay analysis to try and figure out what happened last night, and yeah, it wasn't quite the Lone Druid like I had suspected that got us in a bad position. It was more so just bad movement and bad teamwork. So yeah, the Dire definitely had their crap together, and we did not. So All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll put this up on the YouTubes, and we will see you all next time.